Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if this is your very first time here. I'm so happy that you found our little corner of the internet. My name is Megan. I am about to be a second-time mom, so I'm preparing for my second labor and delivery. And I had the most magical unmedicated birth with my son, so I'm hoping that I can have a similar experience this time. I know so much of it is out of my control, but our birth plan with our son worked so well the first time that I did a really similar, actually almost identical one for our daughter who is due very soon. A lot of you guys have asked me to share what's in this birth plan, and I have never gotten around to it, so I'm glad that I'm finally sitting down to share it with you now. We do have hard copies of it. We're keeping 2 in our hospital bag, one for our medical team and one for Matt and I to reference ourselves. Today I'm kind of just going to go over what's in it with you guys, and if you want to stop and pause the video and write down ideas, and even if you have totally different birth preferences than me, that's super okay. Hopefully this will still be helpful in teaching you how to write a birth plan and give you some ideas of what you can include. So the first thing I have at the top is Matt and I's names, the baby's name, and my due date. This is just helpful for the nurses to be able to look at, to know, like, instead of calling Matt dad, they can be like, oh, his name is Matt. Especially with nurses rotating throughout your labor, if you do have a longer labor, it's just helpful to keep everybody on the same page. So my first section is called Important Needs and Concerns, and I basically just wrote a little note to the staff saying, hey, thank you so much for being a part of our birth. I'm really thankful for your work and for the fact that you're here. Here's how I want to feel through this birth experience. So I said, I want to feel strong and empowered through our birth experience. I'm open-minded about many of these options. I plan to decide on pain management, specifically the epidural, in the moment. I had an unmedicated delivery with my first and would like to try for that again if possible. I'd like to be as mobile as possible for as long as possible. So that's kind of just like a very general overview of what I'm hoping for, so they can see it at a glance. I also have bolded key phrases, so if they don't want to read through this whole thing, they can just look at like 3 to 4 words that are bolded to kind of get the gist. And the second section is labor room preferences. So some things that I have on here are that I'd like to listen to music of my own choice, and then I'll bring my own Bluetooth speaker, and that I want the room to be kept pretty warm and dimly lit if possible. Then I have a section on positions, and this basically says, hey, I want to use positions as a primary form of pain management. Therefore, I'd like to delay an IV as long as possible. Please give me a HEP block. When you get a HEP block, they have like easy access to give you IV meds if you need them, but you're not actually hooked up to anything. And this is what I did for Rowan, and it worked really well because I was able to stay really mobile, but I still felt very prepared in case of an emergency. I also mentioned that I'm interested in using an exercise ball and the tub so that they can have that ready. Often they have to disinfect the tub like extra well if you're planning on using it in labor, so it's good for them to know that ahead of time. Then the next section is called pain management, and here I've written down all of the primary pain management techniques that I'm planning on using. So I have breathing techniques, the tub or shower, position changes, partner support, and counter pressure. That is my biggest tip for unmedicated birth, is have your partner study up on counter pressure before you go into labor. Saved me last time. And then I talk a little bit about the epidural. So just like it was with my son, I'm going in hoping to not have to have the epidural, but I am open to it. If I feel like I need it and the pain is unbearable, then I might go ahead and do it. And I've notated here that I have a safe word with my husband that means, okay, I actually want the epidural, give it to me now. So our little safe word is peaches. And basically he knows that I can ask about the epidural and be like, is it too late or whatever, without actually saying that I need it until I say peaches. When I say peaches, that means yes, I actually want it, give it to me now. Or like at least put the order in now, because it takes the anesthesiologist a while. Next, I have a section on nourishment. So I would like to be able to drink clear liquids to stay hydrated during labor. I'd like to avoid having an IV as long as possible. And if it's safe for me to do so, I would like to be able to eat light snacks and will bring them with me. Our hospital is really cool and very modern, so they allow stuff like that. The next section I would recommend having is something on monitoring for your baby, whether you want to be constantly monitored or intermittent monitoring, which is what I want. I wrote, I would like to have my baby monitored intermittently as long as my baby is doing well and it is safe. I prefer to have my cervical dilation checked regularly so I know how labor is progressing. Please ask before touching me. This is something that I added this time because last time I didn't always get that courtesy. I had a little bit of a scare where they thought I might have had some retained placenta because I was losing a lot of blood. Turned out that the OB had stitched me up incorrectly, but that's a whole different story. But basically they were doing an internal ultrasound to check after labor, and somebody started doing a fundal massage on me while they were doing it without any warning, and she literally just like punched me in the stomach, and it was awful. So this time I have, please ask before touching me. Wish I didn't have to include that, but I do. Then I have a section on pushing. I personally am undecided on my pushing position this time. Last time I knew what position I wanted to push in, and then I got to the pushing stage and I was like, nope, that's not what my body needs at all. And I actually pushed on my back with my feet in the stirrups, which I know is like not the best thing to do, but for me in the moment, like that is what my body needed. And I pushed for 15 minutes and he was out. So I just let my body tell me what it needed. I also notated that during the pushing stage, Matt will be taking photos of the baby's birth, and I'm also interested in watching baby's birth in a mirror. I also wrote that I'm open to the nurse suggesting any appropriate positions. Then my next two sections are on vaginal birth preferences versus C-section birth preferences. I do have both in here because you never know what's going to happen and I want to be prepared either way. So under vaginal birth preferences, I have that I'd like to avoid an episiotomy where the doctor kind of cuts you open. That's not a super common thing that they do anymore, but again, better safe than sorry. I included it in the plan that I do not want that unless it's absolutely necessary. I would also like to utilize a warm cloth on the perineum to avoid tearing. We did this last time and I feel like it made the whole ring of fire thing barely noticeable for me. I also wrote that I'd like to delay cord clamping for 1 to 2 minutes after birth minimum, and that we are collecting our baby's cord blood and tissue and instructions for where to find the kit in our bag. I would like my husband to assist in the delivery of our baby and cut the cord. I would like to have uninterrupted skin-to-skin and breastfeeding time during golden hour, and I would like to hold my baby while medications and other procedures are administered. So this means that she will be right with me for almost everything after birth. Our hospital is really cool because your baby doesn't ever leave your room. The only thing they really have to like take her for is like weight and height, and I think like footprints and handprints. But for the most part, your baby can stay with you, and that's what I prefer. If I happen to need a C-section, I have on here that I would like my partner to stay with me at all times if possible. I also wrote that I would like to have the umbilical cord left long so that my partner has the opportunity to cut the cord. That's really important to Matt. Again, I have instructions for cord blood banking on here, as well as instructions for skin to skin in the operating room if we're both doing well and neither of us needs like immediate medical attention. And then for post-birth preferences, since I've already gone over the skin to skin, the golden hour, I basically just have that I plan to breastfeed my baby and would like to see a lactation consultant on here. Then I ended it with a nice little note, again, just thanking the staff for being there and for helping us to have a really good birth experience. I'll kind of show you what I mean about how I have like bolded phrases so that they can look over things really quickly. And that's it. So again, the sections are important needs and concerns, labor room preferences, positions, pain management, nourishment, labor monitoring, pushing, vaginal birth preferences, C-section preferences, and post-birth preferences. This birth plan worked so well for us last time. It was pretty comprehensive and our medical staff referenced it several times while we were there. So I highly recommend having all those things in there. I hope this was helpful for you if you are trying to figure out what to put in your own birth plan. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments down below and I'll try to answer them, as well as other members of the community who have also already given birth. I know have a lot of wisdom in this area as well, so we can all help each other out. And if you want more end of pregnancy and newborn content in your subscription feed, I would love it if you would stick around and be a subscriber on this channel. The button to subscribe is right there below. I hope you guys are having a great day. I love you so much, and as usual, I can't wait to see you in my next video.